So I will call the meeting to order as of 10:37. So Candace, can you give us the numbers, please?
Yeah, for sure. I'll just go with some of the people that didn't answer on the call, just in case they show up a little later. So we'll go with, there was 38 clubs represented with 38 delegates, 22 guests are in attendance, and the total number of people in attendance is 75.
So with those numbers, that would, by our Golf Saskatchewan bylaws, give us a quorum. So we are going to proceed. So Brian, if you could put up the agenda for a second here. There was a little bit of a revised agenda sent out just before the meeting. The agenda is in front of you. I would ask if there's any changes that anybody would like. Hearing none, if I could get a motion for approval of the agenda.
So approved, Delbert.
And a seconder.
I can second that, Ben Finley.
Thank you. I would next like to go for approval of the 2020 annual general meeting minutes. So the minutes from last year. If I could get someone to make that motion.
I'll make that motion, Alan Kranick.
And a seconder.
Good.
I'll second that. Larry.
Hand up.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, we're going to move right into the election of directors. So I was the nomination chair for this year. And due to the virtual meeting format, we're going to move this up so that we can get the voting taken care of while we go through some of the items in the meeting, including the report and financials. So we have three 3-year positions open for the board. We had 5 individuals who had expressed interest. Unfortunately, one person had to withdraw just a few days before the meeting for personal reasons. So we need to fill 3 positions. The nominees are listed in alphabetical order, and we'll ask them we'll go through each one of them to give a little bit of an overview of who they are. And so the nominees are Delbert Bentner, Drew Bolland, Sue Skinner, and Teddy Weens. So we'll start with Delbert. Delbert, if you could give us a bit of an overview about yourself.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for attending the Golf Saskatchewan annual general meeting. I am the current past president of Golf Saskatchewan. I've been volunteering with either through rules or with the board for approximately 15 years now. One of the reasons why I want to run again is with some of the challenges we've had over the last year, and I suspect this year also, just to try and have a little more continuity to help get through these different times that we have in front of us. So I would like to ask for your support in allowing me to continue on with the board to move this great organization in the right direction. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Delbert. Drew, you'd be next.
All right, hello, I'm Drew Bolland. I'm the GM and head pro at Weyburn Golf Club. First off, I just want to say thank you to Golf Saskatchewan. Obviously, I'm still new or consider myself new, so they've been a valuable resource for me since starting a year ago here at Weyburn. Previously, I spent 8 years working for a management company out of Dallas, mostly as a general manager. And I think now is just the time where I want to contribute, continue to learn, and kind of dedicate some of my time to the professional organizations here in Canada. I'm a PGA member, an active CSCM member, and have an MBA in finance. I know my background's probably a little unique and different, so maybe I've got something different to offer. I absolutely love what I do, and I don't consider working in golf really working at all. I have so much fun, and I just want to get involved where I can. So thank you for your consideration.
Thanks, Drew. Sue?
Good morning from Rosetown. I'm Sue Skinner. 30 years ago, our family was transferred by the RCMP to Saskatchewan from Ottawa. And during this time, we've lived in a variety of different communities all over the province, with our final move finding us retiring here in Rosetown. Personally, I have retired 5 years ago after 30 years of employment in the public service, working in healthcare and education. And specifically, I worked in acute and long-term care facilities and supported students at schools in Yorkton and Rosetown. Just like everyone else here at this meeting, I have a passionate love for this game. Some would say and have said that I have a bit of a problem, and that in fact, I'm a golfaholic. It's a badge I wear with honor, and I accept that. I golf daily, numerous rounds a day, and enjoy sharing my passion for the game with others. For the past 5 years, I've participated in the Provincial Ladies Senior Championship and was a proud member of Team Saskatchewan at Senior Nationals in 2017. So I have numerous years of board experience at the club level, holding director and officer positions. On 2 separate golf boards, I've served in the position of secretary for 9 years, and most recently was the president and past president of the Rosetown Golf Club, ending my term in 2019. So my main focus of interest has always been at the grassroots and club level, with a central focus on increasing participation and memberships. As such, I zeroed in on developing and delivering programs for juniors and women. Over the years, I've served as the Future Links coordinator, an instructor, junior coordinator, captain of the Ladies Evening Club, and was the lead coordinator for the Golf for the Cure tournament for 2 years at our club. As a Sunwest School Division employee, I was able to deliver a spring after school program for golf in schools, utilizing the golf in schools equipment for elementary students, as well as coach the junior and senior golf teams at Rosetown Central High. Since retiring from the school division, I obtained my certification as a community coach in golf so that I can continue to golf at the high school level. At the club level, in addition to being a board member, I served as the handicap chair. I was tasked with applying for MAP and community grants. I coordinated and assisted with golf lessons for juniors and women's delivered by golf professionals out of Saskatoon, and I was the designated member for Golf Saskatchewan. So why am I putting my name forward, and how can I contribute to the board? As a continuation of my focus at the club level, I believe that I could be an additional strong female voice on the board to promote golf with the goal of greater participation at the recreational and competitive level. As a retiree, I have the time and availability to devote to the board, staff, and membership. Currently, 50% of all member courses in the province are rural 9-hole courses. These small town clubs have specific needs and unique challenges that urban courses do not. As I have always been a member at a 9-hole course, I would be able to share their challenges at the board level. As well, currently, Urban City and Eastern Saskatchewan are very well represented on the board. Given the opportunity to fill one of the director positions, the interests of member clubs from Western Saskatchewan would have a voice on the board. I am confident I will be able to tap into my club experience as a board member, volunteer, coach, and player, and pivot these skills to contribute in a positive way to the provincial board. I accept it will be a learning curve, but I'm up to the challenge. And lastly, whatever challenge I faced, I knew I could pick up the phone at any point in time and count on sound advice and direction from the staff at Golf Saskatchewan. They have been a valuable resource in supporting me and the needs of our club. As a player, the staff and volunteers at the provincial championships have made these events so enjoyable for players. I feel for me at this time, it's just time for me to give back. Thank you for giving me your attention. Your support would be greatly appreciated, and good luck to all the nominees. Best wishes to everyone for a safe, enjoyable, and successful golf season. Thank you.
Thanks, Sue. And Teddy Weens.
I just get confirmation quickly. My headphone is in fact working.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks for doing that. I missed the opportunity to do the audio check when I signed on. Good morning, everyone. My name is Teddy Weens. I am out of Regina and play my golf out of the Wascana Country Club. A little background on me. I have been with KPMG for about a year and a half now, working in their risk consulting department. I finished school from the University of Saskatchewan in 2019, so I understand I might be a bit younger, but I am coming today to put my name up for the board of directors on the basis of injecting some youth into the golf scene in the province. I think what we've seen in the past year and a bit now, with all the uncertainty around the pandemic, is that golf is well positioned to grow and become more popular and really be enjoyed by a whole new variety of people that might not have considered it before, just from the ability to socialize outside and get outside and make an excuse to be active, create friendships, that type of thing. So I would like to be considered because my enthusiasm for the game will make me a strong board member, combined with the network I've developed through work and relationships in my experience in the golf industry, working at the Wascana Country Club for almost 10 years when I was young. I've been able to develop good relationships with key stakeholders and clubs in the province, and think I'd be able to leverage those relationships to be a strong board member. Thanks for your time, and the game is better when we all are involved. So thank you everyone for being here and your consideration today, and have a good golf season as it looks to kick off.
Thanks, Teddy. Okay, that would mean that we can go ahead and access your voting privileges as you were sent in the email call to this meeting. So while you do that, we will carry on with a few more activities, and hopefully we'll be able to acknowledge the successful candidates near the end of the meeting. So I'll move on to the next agenda item, and the next item is I'm presenting the president message on behalf of Don Kunkel. And so there is a written message in the annual general meeting report, but this is Don's verbal message that he would have delivered today. So I'll read it for you. Greetings and welcome to the 2021 annual general meeting for Golf Saskatchewan. Thank you all for taking time to attend. My written report may be read in the annual report. This is my verbal report, which I will forward to the recording secretary to be included in the minutes of this meeting. I wanted to start by thanking everyone who worked so hard to keep golf front and center during this pandemic. I want to especially thank Brian Lee, who worked so closely with the Saskatchewan Government Business Review team to keep them well updated on all things related to golf and Golf Saskatchewan. I don't think there were too many days that I didn't talk to Brian on a daily basis from April through to mid-June. And then we talked almost 3 or 4 times weekly, if not daily, throughout our championship events. Brian and his staff did everything possible to keep everyone well informed and abiding by the protocols given to us by the government. This included all golfers, club owners, private golf courses, public courses, park courses, professionals, food and beverage operators, course maintenance managers, and club managers throughout the province. Even then, there were a few people who just did what they wanted and blamed it on Golf Saskatchewan, but we as a team just carried on working in your best interests. 2020 was a very difficult year, as none of us had ever experienced such an event. I can assure you that Golf Saskatchewan Board of Directors and your Golf Saskatchewan staff team will be working just as hard in the coming months of 2021 to keep golf open and hopefully improving as the province gets vaccinated and more options are made available to us, especially fundraising events and fun events for men's and ladies clubs. As many of you know, I have IPF, idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, a terminal illness with no cure other than a double lung transplant, which I have been told I won't be getting due to lack of donors and my age factor. 2020 took its toll on me too, as I only played a few holes of golf, and 2021 doesn't look much better. That's really tough on a guy when you consider that I started playing this great game 66 years ago and usually play about 50 to 60 rounds each year. This will be my last meeting serving as your president. I made the decision to step aside because I have no idea how much longer or what my health will be like in the foreseeable future. 66 years of great memories will keep me going for a while. I still have my first 3 starter clubs, which were actual clubs, and my children and grandchildren all started golfing with them as well. I would be donating them to Golf Saskatchewan. Maybe they will find their way into the Hall of Fame when we finally have a permanent home for the Hall. I grew up playing the game at Riverside Country Club in Saskatoon under the guidance of the late CPGA professional Bill Turnbull. I caddied for Bill all the time and for his wife Barbara, who most of you may know as Barb Danaher, one of the best and most decorated woman golfers. I work on the course in the pro shop and even spent a year as an assistant professional before I let my dad talk me out of becoming a professional, my only regret in life. I was part of a team that hosted many major national and international tournaments at Riverside. I am likely one of the few people that could show you the old track versus the current layout, as I was there for all the changes, even working the evening that a plow wind blew the roof off the old clubhouse. I played all my early golf at Riverside, and when I left around age 38, I always said I was Riverside's oldest, youngest member, having been a member for almost 30 plus years. Bill Turnbull at Riverside and Les Bevan at the City Club actually started the junior golf program in Saskatoon, and a young pro named Peter Semko carried on. Saskatoon juniors dominated both the junior provincial teams and Wellington Cup teams for many years, proving that junior development programs really do work. And our Golf Sask team is carrying on junior development throughout the province and doing a great job as more and more of our junior players are getting golf scholarships and playing the game. There will be more good news coming for junior development from Golf Canada, as well from a group of junior parents under the leadership of Robert Kozak. Both Brian Lee and Steve Ride have helped as well. I know that your board of directors will be doing all they can to keep all of us playing golf and enjoying the outdoors as we beat this pandemic. I want to thank all of you for taking time from your day to participate in our AGM, and a special thank you to our guests from Golf Canada, Don Kunkel, President. Thank you, Don, for your words, and I know that we are all wishing you the best in your struggle. We'll move on now, and I would ask Danny Kluger to speak on behalf of the 2020 Golf Saskatchewan audited financial statements.
You guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So the audited financial statements start on page, what is it here? I just had it, but I went to vote. 48, so if you guys want to reference those. So my name is Danny Kluhart. I'm the current treasurer of Golf Saskatchewan, and I'll be presenting the financial statements prepared by Vertis Group for December 31st, 2020 year end. So Vertis Group has issued an unqualified opinion. Basically, that means that management, or in their opinion, management maintains an adequate system of internal controls and has accurately recorded on a timely basis, and transactions have been properly approved, which have resulted in reliable financial statements. So management and the board of directors acknowledge that the financial statements are their responsibility, and the finance committee is composed of members of the board of directors, meet periodically with management to approve expenses and such. We as the board of directors have voted to approve the financial statements attached. So I will run through some items here. So if we go to I'll start with the statement of financial position here. So The cash position is quite substantial at each year end due to the receiving of the Sask Sport funding in December. That relates directly to the deferred revenue in the liability section. This year, there is a little bit more cash on hand due to some additional Canada Heritage funding, which I will again touch on when we talk about the overall surplus here. So with the accounts receivable, you see a bit of a decrease from $18,000 to about $1,200 this year, and that's just due to less going on during the year, and just we had some outstanding payments for some high performance initiatives last year at year end. So the inventory change, pretty minimal, but that includes team gear and volunteer clothing, which is adjusted by Curtis Group at year end. And the investments increased a little bit here by about 25,000. We don't require those investments. We have enough cash on hand right now to fund any unexpected expenditures going forward, and kind of just a reserve if needed, if a reduction in funding does happen in future years. So that's probably it on the statement of financial position. We can switch over to the statement of changes in net assets. So basically this is just showing our net assets. It'll just increase by the net income for the organization during the year. It separates it by purchase of capital assets. So I think that was a purchase of a few laptops. That was the only thing. And then it'll show a reduction for the amortization of capital assets there at the bottom. So that's probably good. We can switch over to the statement of operations. So I'll just reference off this if anyone else wants additional detail. The schedule start on page 9 and I believe go to page 11. So that'll show a further breakdown if you do want to see the revenue and expense breakdown. So Golf Saskatchewan funding comes from two major sources: the Sask Lotteries Trust Fund, membership fees, and then in normal years there are other significant revenue streams, which are the tournament and competition fees, donation, fundraising, and sponsorships, investment income, and then Saskatchewan Golf Hall of Fame revenue. So overall, we saw a decrease of about 2.8%. That decrease would have been a little more had we not have received the Canada Heritage funding at year end. But again, I'll touch on that when we talk about the overall surplus. So that's probably good. Well, with the competition revenues, obviously that was down. We only hosted a few of the championships compared to prior years. So that was down about 42% as expected. Hopefully we can get out there back to somewhat normal this year. And the investment lines, basically that just ties into the balance sheet, the increase of about 25,000 there. So we'll move on to the expenses. So with the administration, that's a decrease of about 7%. Oh, sorry, I should have said the overall decrease was approximately 20%, 191,000. Majority of it was just due to COVID and not operating at full capacity. So yeah, the administration here decrease of about 7%, 27,000 compared to the prior year. The board did agree to keep all 4 staff members on. We're very happy with the work that they're doing, and we wanted to ensure that they all stayed with the organization. And then for the decrease is basically we didn't hire a summer intern, and then just a bit of reduced office operations as the staff was working at home. So with the capacity interaction, that decreased about 82%, 32,000. That is just benefit of member services. So that includes member visits, member club initiatives, volunteer and golf SAS, meetings, and yeah, the volunteer recognition. We usually have a day in the fall for volunteer appreciation, so that was canceled due to COVID. So the participation and interaction have decreased approximately 55%, 60,000. Normally that expenditure is around 110,000 and was just impacted due to the lack of programs, championships, and services that were provided throughout the year. So the excellence, that decreased approximately 80%, 63,000. That ties directly to the national athlete assistance. There were no national championships, so that was a huge cost that we saved this year. And then just a lack of training programs due to COVID, we couldn't host those things. So the membership assistance program, that's just a flow through for Golf Saskatchewan. So it comes in from Sask Lotteries Trust Fund, and then on that expense line, that's just the flow through to the member clubs for assistance. The national fees, that's another flow through, which nets zero. That's just collected by Golf Saskatchewan and remitted to Golf Canada. The charitable events, that just includes 2 scholarships that Golf Saskatchewan provides. That's the same every year, that $3,000. The Saskatchewan Golf Hall of Fame, that event was canceled this year, so that was a decrease in expenses. So we'll just talk about the overall surplus for this year of 163,000 compared to a deficit of about 2,400 last year. So obviously due to the decrease in a bunch of expenditures, just not operating at full capacity, that was a huge cost saving. But then also that $80,000 in Canada Heritage funding was unrestricted grant revenue, so it couldn't be deferred like the other deferrals. So that had to be recognized in the 2020 fiscal year. So that increased our surplus this year by approximately 80,000. That 80,000 was distributed, or the majority of it was distributed to member clubs in Q1 of fiscal 2021 here. So it has already been distributed. There is more of that Canada Heritage funding coming in. So that again will be, majority of it will be distributed to clubs, but that's why that surplus looks like it's very high this year. Other than that, basically, we don't have any, the board doesn't have any specified use for the reserve funds. We do, like I said before, have enough cash on hand. It's adequate. We can absorb any unanticipated funding cuts or one-time expenditures if that does happen in the next year or two, or even further if the reserves remain strong. So I would just like to thank Bertis Group for preparing the audit. And if anyone has any questions, I guess let me know right now. Well, that's fun stuff, isn't it? Okay, if nobody has any questions, if you do have questions, just I don't know, message me on here or talk to me at the end of the meeting or whatever. Get a hold of me somehow. So if there's no questions, I'd like to motion to approve the 2020 audited financial statements presented by Virtus Group.
Also move that, Gord.
Could we get a seconder, please? Ken Peters? Any objections? Hearing none, carried.
Okay, and I'd also like to motion to appoint Virtus Group as the auditors for the December 31st, 2021 audit.
Seconder,
I can second it.
okay, Diana.
All right.
Any objections? Seeing none, carried.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Danny. So next, we have a little bit of an item on behalf of the existing board members, and certainly Golf Saskatchewan staff. We would like to thank a couple of our outgoing board members for their service. Thank you to Jasmine Cameron and Ben Finley. Jasmine was on the board for 3 years, and I believe Ben was 4. We really appreciated their input, and we wish them all the best in their future endeavors. We'll move on to the next item, which is bylaws, and I'd ask for Richard Smith to take that over, please.
Hang on, Brian, can you put that on screen? Most of the changes that are proposed in the bylaws have to do with equality and universality. There's really only one area which is a change. So as Brian will scroll down this, anything that's shown with the yellow highlights is something that's new or a change. Okay, there's the first one of more inclusive language, replacing the he, she, or she, he with the phrase the individual. There was some pressure to use there, but I objected to that because it's grammatically incorrect. It's the plural, not the singular. So anyway, wherever you see that, it is in there simply to recognize the need for inclusion or inclusive language in our bylaws. Okay, stop there, Brian. This is the one that is a change to the previous provisions of the bylaws, which were essentially that directors may not serve as the delegates of members' clubs, and in consultation, the board feels that there's really no need for that if a club chooses to have somebody who is a Golf Saskatchewan director represent them and vote their do their voting at the AGM. No reason to prohibit that. So the new wording is that a director may, in addition, serve as a delegate of the individual's home club. Okay. One of the other benefits of that is it sometimes can cut down, not so much, of course, when we're having Zoom meetings, but if we were having in-person annual meetings where people had to travel, then if there was somebody who was already on the board of directors, that club would not, unless they chose to, send somebody else as a delegate to the meeting, which involved travels and so on. Okay, carry on, Brian.
That takes it to the bottom, Richard.
Yep. Okay, so I guess we're ready for you to have somebody move the adoption.
I will move to adopt the bylaw changes as presented.
I would second that.
Any objections? Hearing none, motion approved. Okay, Candace, where are we sitting on election results?
I need about 3 minutes here to discuss it with Brian, and then I'll be back.
Okay. So we'll carry on. We have the election results coming here very shortly. Just to let you know that once the board is established, there is a board meeting that will take place shortly after this meeting, and at that time, the board will decide who their president, vice president, and treasurer will be, and that will be communicated back to the membership once that has occurred. So unless there is anything else, I will call the meeting adjourned at 11:14, and then we will move into the information part of the meeting and come back with election results at some point in that time.
Larry, I don't think you can adjourn it because we haven't elected the board yet. You can suspend, you can.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, should we just wait for a couple minutes?
Well, we could put it into, trying to think of the wording, if anybody can help me.
Suspension?
Yeah. I'm not sure if suspension's the right word, but
maybe recess is appropriate. Yeah. Recess the meeting.
Yeah.
Well, we'll put it into recess until we get the election results, and then we'll adjourn at that time.
Well, unlike the state of Florida, Larry, we have the results. So the three people with the highest count are Delbert Bettner, Drew Bolland, and Teddy Weens.
Okay. So then I guess we can adjourn the meeting at 11:15.